The problem with school wasn't the content. Newton's laws are useful. The periodic table is real. History happened. Oh, all that's there. The problem was the atmosphere. Questions that slowed things down weren't always welcome. The test had one right answer. The curriculum moved forward regardless of whether understanding followed. And that atmosphere taught something much more damaging than any wrong fact. It taught that knowledge is fixed, that authority holds it, that your job is to receive it rather than interrogate it. Not here is the truth, but here is what we know so far. Here is how confident we are. Here is where the edges are. Here is what would change our minds. That framing teaches something completely different. It teaches that knowledge is alive, that it has edges, that the most interesting work happens at the boundaries, that questioning isn't failure, but it's the whole point. Socratic dialogue treats the student as someone who can discover truth through questioning rather than someone who receives truth from authority. The question is the instrument, not the answer. You don't get told what's true. You're guided towards seeing it yourself through a conversation that keeps opening rather than closing. That produces a completely different relationship to knowledge, not, deference to authority, but genuine inquiry. I love that. Genuine inquiry. I want to be fair about why school works the way it does. You need the map before you can find its edges. Teaching Newton's laws as reliable knowledge isn't dogma, it's practical. A student who learns that F equals ma might not be completely true before they understand when and why it works isn't being liberated. They're being confused. The real failure isn't teaching established knowledge, it's teaching it in a way that never shows the student where the knowledge ends and the open question begins. That's the line that should be more explicit. The content wasn't the problem. The relationship to the content was certainty instead of provisional confidence, authority instead of inquiry, reception instead of interrogation. That relationship, installed early, reinforced constantly, is what most people are still running. Not because the facts were wrong, because the way knowledge was handed to them taught them to stop questioning before they ever really started.